Welcome to Forge the Self. Life is a test. The world spins out of control, but the Stoics knew the truth. We only truly command ourselves. Here, we don't chase perfection. We pursue progress, quietly and relentlessly. We choose challenge over comfort, growth over ego, action over excuses. Because self-improvement isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were meant to be. This is your daily reminder to learn, to reflect, and to rise stronger than yesterday. Let's begin.
Johnny Dumbbell, what's good, man?
Man, crazy week. A lot of busy stuff going on. I think it's interesting. See, as a personal trainer this time of year, this is when some of my clients that I see 3 times a week, they take a vacation, right? So they come back, they got sessions to make up. So when 2 of them are gone for a week, they come back and now you're picking up extra sessions. So this is going to be a week where I'm not even sure how I have time for this one, but I always got time for you, brother. But yeah, it's been crazy busy, but hey, we're grinding every day and we're getting that paper. So young men, remember, from wake up to sundown, you should be thinking about and making progress towards improving yourself to where you want to be every day. And make your bed.
I'm addicted to self-improvement. I wake up every day about 3:30 in the morning, and yeah, I like to do a little bit of yoga. I like to do some stretches first thing in the morning. And I like to be at the gym by like 4:15. And I've been doing this so long now for so many weeks that it's become a habit. It's routine and I enjoy it. Before I start my day, I get to just work out and I just feel like I'm the best version of myself for the day. And yes, my bed is always made before I leave the house, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have a routine. Yeah, it's good to have a routine. I mean, like I said, the Johnny Dumbbell get off your ass challenge, we got to make sure that we're doing that. Again, I challenge you guys to get off your ass 3 times a week for 4 weeks. Get to the gym. After those 4 weeks, I want you to add a day, 4 times a week for 4 more weeks. At the end of that, I got a feeling you won't need my guidance except for actual specific workouts, which, by the way, you can find on my channel.
And let me tell you something, nephews. All of you should be subscribed to Johnny Dumbbell's channel, and he has a lot of information on there for not just the way that you should conduct yourself as a man, but he has a lot of stuff on there, fitness related too. And I've done a lot of Johnny's workouts myself for many months. I did the Johnny Dumbbell core workout, and it's that 6 minutes a day. It was saving me time doing it, and I did it consistently, and there were certainly benefits from it. So
great for what the French call les obliques.
And if you can't get to the gym 3 times a day, come on, nephews. I need to know why. Put it down in the comments below. Put on what is more important than getting consistent in the gym. Let me know, because maybe you're putting me on the game. All right.
Yeah, John, I mean, I don't want to hear you press for time and then find out you're online playing Call of Duty. Come on now.
Priorities, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
So, Johnny, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. We got a lot of new people watching us. We got people from Facebook, people from Rumble, people from my channel, your channel. So before we get rocking tonight, I'll go first. Let me introduce myself. My name is William. Let me welcome you to my channel. It's called William the Conqueror. Some nights we talk about conquering the hearts and minds of women, but tonight we're talking about conquering yourself. So that would be my challenge to you, gentlemen. I'd like to know a little bit about your own discipline. You could put that in the comments and put me onto that as well.
Yeah, and absolutely, Billy. But that was loud. Well, I'm Johnny Dumbbell. I'm a personal trainer and life coach out here in beautiful Pittsburgh, where the sun has finally gotten back to shining. I know it sounds like I keep saying that every time, but it's weird. It's like Pittsburgh makes you drunk and then it rains. Shout out to Cian. But what I'm here to do is I'm here to share my success and mostly my failures to ensure that young men don't make the same mistakes that I did when it came to self-respect, self-confidence, self-improvement, women, relationships, personal growth. And by that, I mean physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, whatever you want to look at it, however you want to look at it. Now, remember, we talk about making sure that you are men and not simps, because remember, we are a tough love channel. We believe that simps are not victims, they are volunteers. So if you're thinking about doing something and it sounds stupid, reckless, or foolishly expensive, talk to us first. Leave something in the comments. Shoot us a DM before you do it, because chances are one of us has done it and learned the hard way. In short, we're the uncles that are we're the screw up uncles that you never wanted, but you can learn volumes from.
That's right, gentlemen. We are here to share our knowledge with you. And because we want you guys to do better, we want to help you become the best versions of yourself that you can be. But we know that it's not for everybody. Some of you guys aren't going to do anything more than watch this video. You're not going to put any of the things that we talk about into action. And for those of you, hey, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Drop us a like. But for those of you that actually want to learn, that want to improve yourself, that want to do better, ask us whatever you need to. We got a call-in number. You can drop questions in the chat. Johnny even has a couple questions that we're going to answer tonight, because we understand some of you guys need to work on self-confidence. We understand that some of you guys want to keep things in your life private. You might even be embarrassed about your problems. And we don't want that embarrassment to be the reason why you don't reach out and ask for our help. So Johnny,
you can do it anonymously.
To email him anonymously with your questions, and we'll answer it under the condition that we can put it up for everybody to learn from. Because I guarantee you, nephew, there are other people that are having the same problems that you are and can use your question to help their own lives. So that's kind of why we do it this way. So
absolutely, I'll carry it a step further. We probably did it.
So call in, write in, or DM Johnny if that's how you need to go about this. We got you no matter how you need to ask your questions. So
all 4 questions tonight came from email.
Let's give me a second here. Let's get this call-in number up. If any of y'all want to call in, I'm telling you, you can ask us anything. There is nothing you're going through that's going to stump us. We can, if not give you some advice, we'll be able to give you an advisement on it.
Definitely.
So, Johnny, we got a couple questions tonight, don't we?
Well, if we can get around to them, we got 4. We had a lot of, like I said, it's been a busy week, and I tell you, when it rains, it pours. So not only have I been busy at the gym, I've been busy with my online clients. Been working a lot with, a lot of the, gentlemen, ladies, most of the gentlemen that have been, sending in messages for, personal coaching, things like that. So I had a lot to sift through. I had a lot of messages to get through, and unfortunately had a couple messages to screen. But we got a couple of good ones. I tried to pick 3, but there was a tie between a couple of them as to how great I thought they were as far as questions. So I made sure that I included both of them. So we might have to limit ourselves time-wise on each one, but I think we're going to get some good answers for these guys. And the first one comes from Chance. And Chance is 31 years old. He says she is mid-20s. I'm going to say probably 25, 26 is what it sounds like. Now, he says, I started dating a woman who has a male best friend of over 3 years, and they have hooked up for a period after her last long-term relationship ended. What can I do to feel more secure? Now, Now, here's the thing. I got my hand over the buzzer too, Bill. But this kind of goes on, and there's some interesting points. We already know what we think, but there's some interesting points that I think can be raised, throughout the remainder of this email. And now, what he says is, I started dating a woman about 4 months ago. She works in a very male-dominated field and has been working at this job for approximately 3 years, and has grown very good friendships there. One being her best friend, who's about my age. He was friends with her while she was in her last relationship, but they ended up hooking up after her last relationship failed. A few months later, she meets me and we hit it off. She's very transparent about everything. Excuse me. It makes it clear that she and this guy are no longer dating, hooking up, and as he ended things with her a month ago because he just wanted to remain friends with her, and he is now in a relationship with someone else. They still text and Snapchat and spend time together in groups and see each other very regularly at work. I'm not generally insecure about something like this. While I do trust her, I generally expect the women I'm dating to not put themselves in a situation that would risk the relationship, which I don't think she is necessarily doing by being around him. She communicates well with me whenever she's going around to be around him, so I don't feel like she's hiding anything. When we talked about this a few months ago, she said she felt like it was unfair for me to ask her to cut him out of her life, especially since I've only been in her life for a couple of months and this is still a new relationship, which is fair, and I don't want to be controlling. I've also never had a girlfriend that had a male best friend, let alone that they had been hooking up with at some point in our life, now that it's platonic. I like what Bill says about loving yourself first, and I do. And I also like the way Johnny gives me the confidence to say things with my chest in quotes. I like that. But I need advice on what I can do to feel more secure inside. Or if it's a lost cause and I should cut things off now.
No, first of all, Chance, is not a lost cause. Here's the thing. This woman is being open and honest with you and is giving you full disclosure. She has not hidden anything from you. And there's a couple indicators of her behavior I'm going to put you on to that, I experience in my own life. When any woman starts giving you her itinerary, letting you know where she's going to be somewhere, when she's going to be there, who she's going to be with, that means that woman is really into you, because they're not going to do that for just anybody. So I would say that's definitely an indicator of her interest and willingness to, okay, she shouldn't have to coddle you. You should be secure in yourself, Chance, that you are providing this woman with everything. I keep saying women, Johnny, that's because I'm giving them advice from me, but you should be providing this woman with everything she needs to be comfortable in your relationship with her, to where there's nothing she needs to get outside of your relationship. You should be giving her the affection she needs, the attention she needs, the emotional security that she needs. So as long as you're doing that, I wouldn't worry. Because really, if she wanted to be with him, she would be. Now, is she the kind of woman that would make poor decisions? Sure, Chance, they all are, if you don't give them the correct leadership. A lot of women are very reckless, and you have to have that leadership, because if not, they'll come into your own life and start wrecking it. So you need to set some boundaries that you didn't set a few months ago. Now, I think you should have vetted her a lot longer than what you did before you made her your girlfriend. And you should have went a little more into the bound. Now, when it comes to boundaries, I need to say this. Your boundaries should not be created or set out of fear. Your boundaries should not be made because you're afraid of her doing something. Shout out to Patrice O'Neal. Your boundaries need to be rooted in righteousness, my dude. So when it comes to creating those, and that kind of goes with your program. And if you haven't developed a program, then you're not going to know when to set boundaries, what kind of boundaries to set, how to clearly communicate your boundaries, just things like that. So you've kind of started this relationship off in the hole, I would say.
Yeah.
So
because I mean, here's
Well, I mean, put his foot down and drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is how it's going to be now, because you already agreed for it to be one way. And once you switch up with women, dog, there's no going back. I'm sorry.
And that's exactly it. I mean, they're going to lose that kind of respect for you, especially with that, because now you flip-flopped on an issue. You have either backed down or you have doubled down, and either way, it's not going to end well. I'm actually going to go ahead and validate your feelings there, Chance, because I'm not the kind of guy that likes to date girls who are still friends with guys that have been inside her. And so, my big thing is this. Do I think that you're a little bit insecure? Two things. A, yes. And B, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that. But here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. Like Bill said, you did not vet this woman from the very beginning. If this is something that you are not comfortable with, if you are not comfortable dating a woman who is still friends with guys that she has respected in the buff, remember that is okay for you to not be okay with. But the problem is you are trying to either figure out a way to get her to cut this friendship off, or you're trying to find a way to trick yourself into somehow being okay with something in which I'm going to go ahead and agree with, depending on the situation that she puts herself in these group settings. Maybe she is putting herself into situations that are conducive to cheating. Now, it's nice that she's open and honest with you, but there is a thing called trickle truth. And I'll give you an example of that. Girl comes home, tells her boyfriend she ran into her ex today. How'd it go? Oh, great. Just said, hey, hi, great. Good to see you. Now, later on, he might find out from a friend that they saw them holding hands. And she says, no, I told you about running into him. And I didn't even have to tell you about that. I was honest up front. So it could be that she's giving you just a little bit of the truth and maybe there's more under the surface. Now, I'm not saying I don't know this girl. I'm just saying that's a possibility. The thing of it is that these things are going to continue to run through your head because this is something that you are not comfortable with. This relationship is clearly not something that you are comfortable with. And like I said, I'll validate your feelings on that. There's nothing wrong with you not wanting to date a woman who wants to do this. But you knew that from the beginning. You took 4 months out of a 3-year friendship that she had with this guy, whether it's a friends with benefits, whether it's all of a sudden platonic out of the blue, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, you are not comfortable with that, and thus you're not comfortable dating this girl. You're going to need to find somebody that, doesn't cross a line that clearly bothers you enough to write in and ask your uncles.
All right, Chance, I'm gonna give you a little different spin on this, nephew. You could trick your mind, but you can't trick your heart. Shout out to Kevin Gates. You should not be operating out of fear. You should be operating out of love. The love I'm talking about is self-love. So that in mind, you got to understand a few things, Chance. Women have guys that try to sleep with them everywhere they go. The gym, the job, oftentimes the job. I know a lot of women who sleep with guys from the job. It happens. The store. I talk about this all the time. I like to meet women at the store. So what? You're not going to let your woman go to the grocery store? I mean, come on. So my point is that you can't control how other guys are around your woman, stepping to your woman, attracted to your woman, hitting on your woman, making innuendos towards your woman, but her reaction to the situation tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
And she is so far has been upfront with you about it. Now, you also have to keep in mind, Chance, that this dude might have only hit once or twice. He might have been trying for years. The other dude got himself kicked to the curb and he slid in under the friend zone. Johnny and I have talked about this before.
Which really doesn't work, but he's gotten it.
Coworker slides in under the friend zone after a few drinks and just, helps getting her home, whatever it is. And she realizes quickly how boring he is and that he can't smash. So she don't want anything to do with him. But she is feeling you, Chance, the way you look, the way you talk to her, the way you treat her, the way you make her feel. She's feeling it. So you should not be operating out of fear and be worried about that man at all. So,
but here's the thing. That's not going to be a factor in Chance's mind here. Chance is not going to get used to this. Chance is not going to be comfortable with this. And I mean, this is kind of what he's saying is that this is kind of something that, and here's the thing. I'll never tell you that it's a bad boundary to have. I'll never tell you that you should be okay with your woman being best friends with a guy who smashed before. If you're not okay with it, you're not okay with it. Some guys are, most guys aren't. If you're not, that's okay. Move on, man. But that's the problem. You don't want to move on. You want to take this little chunk of the reality away from the reality and just take the reality that you're having fun with. And unfortunately, it does not work that way. So the thing of it is that now it's a little too late for you to set those boundaries. Plus, she's already told you that she's not going to respect that boundary if you try to set it. And the problem with that is when you try to set boundaries down the road instead of at the very beginning, now you sound like you're trying to make rules late in the game. Now you sound like you're trying to control things. And, you know, we've spoken about this before. Controlling the woman is impossible and you shouldn't bother to want to anyway. But the fact of the matter is that the fact of the matter is she's told you that this guy is important in her life. And if you're willing to walk away from it, then, I mean, and rightly so, he's been in her life for 3 years. Maybe he is more important to her than this relationship, but that's not the important part. The important thing in this relationship is you. The important thing is whether or not you want to remain in a relationship with a girl who, let's face it, is probably not going to stop hanging out with this guy, even if she told you she would. You know, she might be that girl where she might say, oh, you know what? If it bothers you that much, I won't. And then you just won't find out about it. You will, but you're not supposed to. Or there could be resentment. There could be resentment from your side because she doesn't stop, or there could be resentment from her side if she does. The point of the matter is that you are trying to ignore your own boundary. Never mind that she doesn't like your boundary. You have this boundary and you are trying to ignore it because you just are too happy to be there. You're too happy to be in this relationship. And why? The things that are happening here are, I don't know if they're making you miserable, but they're certainly making you uncomfortable. And that's not what a relationship should be.
Well, Johnny, I really like what you said about moving on, but let's talk about what that takes for a second, because not everybody can just do that.
Right.
Some men have to be pushed to their breaking point. They have to have so much emotional stress placed upon them to where their own mental health is at risk if they don't. And then some men like me will walk away over anything. So that's a skill that was developed over time. Okay. Being able to move on gracefully. So sometimes, Chance, things don't work out with women. But there doesn't have to be disrespect involved with that. It's okay to mutually agree to move on. Hey, things didn't work out. You know, blessings on your journey. Best of luck in your endeavors. And it doesn't have to be weird when you run into him down the road. That's the good news, because you've only been with her a few months. So it's easier to move on now. It's easier to get out now. If you let this continue on for years, especially if you have insecurities festering, that will cause resentments, that will cause blocks in communication, it's just going to get worse. Yeah. So when Johnny says consider moving on, I want you to take his advice to heart, because that might be the best thing for you. I know.
And in that case,
you might be able to save this. Come on. She says she loves you, or whatever the case may be. She'll do whatever. But you had a lack of leadership from the very beginning. I really don't know if you have enough history with her to come back from that.
Right. I mean, but that's also the good and bad news, because here's the thing. You haven't invested even half a year in this girl. Okay. And we're not saying she's a waste of your time. We're not saying that at all. She's probably a great girl, but she doesn't fit your mold. She doesn't fit your program. And it looks like you've been watching this for a while. If you saw last week's podcast, you have heard me say, this is your program. She must fit it. You do not fit hers. And right now, what it looks like is, and that's how I can kind of tell you've been watching this. You know she doesn't fit your program. I think you're asking for us to tell you that it's okay to drop her from your program. I'm telling you it's okay to drop her from your program. As a matter of fact, not only that, move on, work on yourself, and the next time you get involved with a girl, make her earn her spot on the program, much like a quarterback has to start or earn the starting job. Okay? She has to fit that mold. She has to fit what you're looking for, because if she doesn't, now all you're doing is chasing a pretty girl. Bill, what do you got? Final thoughts?
Well, my final thought on this is to, I don't think you should get rid of her. I think you should continue to test her and see how hard she's going to go for you. So that's going to take some leadership on your part. You're probably going to need some coaching from Uncle Johnny. I would definitely hit him up for some one-on-one coaching, but
Chance, I'll follow up with you in an email, man. I'm sure you're probably not seeing it live, but I'm sure you're watching.
but before you go moving on, I want you to think, maybe double down and lean more into yourself and that masculine role, and start telling her what to do and lead her and see where that goes. Because if she's willing to follow you, you may be a little hasty on getting rid of her. Like I said, there's always going to be guys that want to smash your girl, especially at her job. So you need to just,
or at least there should be.
Yeah, at least there should be. Yeah. And you need to just learn how to deal with that and get over with it. Because let me tell you something, Chance, if that woman is into you, those guys are not you. And that's what I stand on. If a woman is into me, none of those other guys are me. I ain't got nothing to worry about. I'm the one she wants to be with. It.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Chance. Appreciate you writing in, man. Like I say, I'll follow up with you and we'll talk. All right. So not bad. I think Chance has got some hope. I think as young as he is, I mean, he's in his early 30s and, he's about the age that we were when we started kind of figuring things out too. So, nobody has it all figured out right away unless they're a natural, and there are very few of those in the world, Chance. So, keep it going. So this one.
No, and even us, and that's really what I was called in the 90s, the early 2000s. They used to call me a natural when it came to women. And I just have been able to communicate with them and have a little bit of get to gab and banter with them. And they just enjoy conversations with me. And it leads to more conversations with me.
All right. Well,
today, Johnny.
So this one comes from Mitch, Mitch, whatever you want to call him. So he says, meeting single women in the real world has been genuinely impossible. Nothing I do seems to change this, and I'm not sure where I can go from here. So he says, and this one's kind of lengthy-ish, so I'm going to try to abbreviate it. But I'm 31. I'm tall, good fit, good job. I do all the things I'm supposed to do. I finished my Johnny Dumbbell workouts, and I have an epic beard almost as cool as Bill's. I love it. Happy with who I am as a person, have zero issues making new friends, and have tons of them. One problem is I find it genuinely impossible to meet single women in my daily life. I haven't had an organic connection to go anywhere in over 10 years. I've had relationships through apps, but I don't want that to be my only way. I tried the whole just live your life and someone will eventually come along for years and years, and that outright did not work. So about a year ago, I decided to make a change and become more intentionally social. I like that term. That's how I know he's been listening to us. Intentionally social, not just for meeting women, but for self-improvement and making friends. It's been a resounding success making friends, but an utter failure on the dating side. Now, here's where
Hey, Johnny,
I think we really
up to you, but we got a comment here from Angel. She's giving away the game, man. These girls are not going to be happy with you, Angel, telling on them like that.
Hey, man.
Angel says every girl has that one guy. If she says not, she's lying.
If he's not, and if that guy is non-negotiable, Angel, Yep.
Man, Angel, I'm telling you, the women that see this are not going to be happy with you that you're giving away their game. All right, Johnny.
Well, I don't know. See, most of the ones I talk to say something like, "Oh yeah, they all do it." I just don't. Anyway, so Angel, love you. Thank you so much. He says, few examples. I worked in male-dominated places before, but started a new job with tons of girls my age. Every one of them is married. Joined adult co-ed sports, only men, married women, and girls who like girls. Frequent a local cafe. Women have headphones in and have no interest in being social, only befriended the baristas and the old men. Come on, Mitch. Become involved in new friend groups, no single girls at all. Same story over and over, no matter what I do or try, for a decade plus. The gym, women only show up with their boyfriends or husbands, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm having a hard time figuring out whether I'm just being impossibly unlucky, or if there are just very few single women in my age bracket. Now, this is not a women bad or can't get a girlfriend post. This is 100% solely about just not ever meeting any single women in the very literal sense. I'm not saying they don't want me. I'm saying that there just genuinely aren't any single girls my age. if I walk into a room of 100 people, you can bet it'll be something like 75 men, 20 married women, and 5 girls who like girls. Every time, I wonder where he gets that stat. Every time, it's not anyone's fault, and I'm not mad at, at women for it. I'm just frustrated that this is my reality, and I'm also not just outright hitting on anyone. I'm not creepy and socially awkward. Apps work fine for me, and I'm fortunate for that. But it bothers me that I feel barred from having any normal experiences in life. So what it sounds like is when it comes to him wanting to meet girls the old-fashioned way, it sounds like Mitch is a '90s guy. He's kind of like the off the grid kind of guy, like I am. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a couple of things, Mitch, that you're throwing out there that I'm going to go ahead and hit you with. Now, I understand that there may be a shortage of single ladies in your area. You know, maybe that the factory's been down on production. I don't know, but you're talking about meeting women at work. You're talking about going to a local cafe. You're talking about in your friends group where you're already in the friend zone. You're talking about going to the gym. You just listed 4 places, none of which I would mention for you to go to if you're looking to meet somebody. So what it looks like is it sounds like you're willing. It sounds like you're, ready to start, but 2 things are stopping you. Number 1, you're looking for love in all the wrong places, as the song goes. But number 2, you're saying things like, I'm not just going to outright hit on somebody because I don't want to be creepy. So you're sick of dating apps, but you're afraid to talk in person because you're afraid of being perceived as creepy. Now, listen, I understand that because, we live in a day and age where apparently face-to-face communication is considered creepy or stalky or whatever they want to call it. But the fact of the matter is that the only thing that comes across creepy is if you lack confidence, and especially if you're trying to fake confidence. Those things are going to always come across creepy every single time.
Angel, I'll tell you this. I have the same birthday as Kevin Gates. So you can figure that out if you want. All right, Johnny. I don't even know where to start with this, man. Can I take the ball for a minute?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay, here's the thing, buddy.
I need a drink.
The married thing shouldn't matter at all. I know plenty of married women who are in open relationships. They're swingers. Okay. That should not be that big of a hang up on you. Now, it is.
I feel like you could even keep it ethical.
No. If they're E&M, ethically non-monogamous, okay, then that should be an option for you. Now, if they're cheating on their husband, that might not be something you want to get yourself involved with. Okay. Take it from me. Your uncles have been there and done it before. That's not a road you want to go down.
No one can prove I've done that.
Obsessive over their wives. But some guys give their wives permission to do whatever they want. And I'll tell you this, today, I like to make everything about me. I take one of those me pills every day. Okay. So I had not 1, but 2 married women bring me gifts to work. And what do I mean by gifts? I mean, one of them brought me a little snack. The other one brought me a box of the little Celsius drinks that I like to drink. And do you know why these married women did that? Because they respect me. So that's what you're dealing with married women. You'll know where you stand with them. So I don't want to get off track here, but I'm just saying the fact that they're married, you don't need to get hung up on that. You have bigger issues here. Approaching women. You don't know how to approach women because you're worried about women not in your age group, and you named all these places you're going to talk to women that you should not be talking to women at. Okay. First thing you need to do is open up your door and go outside because that's where the women are. You don't need to specifically go here or there. You don't need to go to a nightclub on singles night, on ladies night.
The nightclub seems pretty much dead these days anyway.
Well, that's not how to get women that you're compatible with if that's not what you do. I like to go have a drink when I don't have my kids. So every other weekend, like the women that I match on Bumble, I'm asking them to meet me for drinks. I just had a great interaction with a woman Saturday night. So, but my point is that bookstores are where I like to go. Organic food section of Myers, Giant Eagle, places like that. and I strike up conversations with women. I'm playful. I introduce myself. I don't really joke around. And look, Johnny and I have slightly different views on this, but I'll break down my view on this. That if a woman is already sexually attracted to you, you being funny is just going to add to that attraction. Where guys get it wrong, they think that they can be funny and that will turn a woman on somehow. And that's not how it works. She has to be attracted to you already.
Yeah, and I
So,
mean that also speaks to when you approach a woman and you are trying to pretend to be like when you're trying to fake confidence. I'm telling you, I've seen it firsthand. Faking confidence will always come across as creepy. It will always come across creepy. You yourself are probably not creepy in reality, but when you're trying to be something you're not, you're putting out that deceptive thing. Remember, women have this intuition that we kind of have, but it's not as strong as theirs, and that is going to give them that vibe that, I mean, even if they were initially attracted to you, you fake that confidence, you come across creepy. That's gonna cut that attraction level at least in half, if not worse.
okay, so I'll give you a little bit of game here on the grocery store. So you could take your cart and kind of bump it into her cart and tell her you're going to need her name and insurance information. Or you could do something like grab two things, like I've done the oat milk and almond milk, and just ask, hey, what do you think? Oat milk, almond milk? You know, it just as a little icebreaker. To
Which of
kind
these nut milks do you like?
We'll get there, Johnny. We'll get there.
Which of these nut milks? Anyway, yeah, I mean, I would say my advice.
Okay, but it really starts with you have to learn a solid approach, and that doesn't change,
Or at least a solid attitude towards an approach.
Okay, your approach should not change based on the woman or the situation. Your approach should be the same every single time because your approach is based on who you are. So you're not going to switch up. You're going to stay constant in it, and you may need to tweak it. You know, Johnny will tell you exactly what to say and what to do and how to gauge their level of interest and what to do next. Because a lot of you guys, like, we can give you a line or two to use, but you guys aren't going to know what to do after you say that line and it works. So you really should get with Johnny and, you know, build a solid, thorough.
Wait, you're supposed to say
approach.
no.
Well, if you're constant in who you are, you use the same approach online too. So that would be my next question for you is what does your online dating profile look like?
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, I would need some screenshots. Like you're talking about you can't meet women. Let me get some screenshots and we'll talk about why, sir.
Yeah, I mean, without being too terribly specific as far as where to go, I can definitely tell you that, first of all, Mitch, you have the right idea. You know, you're out there, you're at least looking, but unfortunately, you're looking into the wrong rocks for the wrong kind of bugs. You know, we've got to get you to a point where, you know, and like Bill said, you don't need to be looking to specific places for the specific purpose of finding a woman to date. But what you should probably do is start having a better and more positive attitude towards yourself on a daily basis. And when you feel those times where, you know, and we all know those times we're walking around feeling ourselves, I want you to have that feeling a little more frequently. And whatever that takes to do that, you know, if you're already a gym goer, great. If not, you know, the Johnny Dumbbell Get Off Your Ass Challenge. I'm not going to describe it again, but it wouldn't kill you. And not just because you're going to be in better physical shape and because you might get bigger muscles. If that was all it was, I would tell you, hey, if that doesn't work, try fishing. But along the way, you're going to find out that this is going to give you a lot better mental health, a lot better self-confidence, a lot better feeling about who you are. And by the time you're through that 8th week, you're going to like yourself so much that you'll be going to the gym just because it's something you're going to want to be able to continue to do for yourself and continue to improve every single time. So, yeah, like I said, get through, I would say take a couple of weeks off of actively looking, get yourself straight in the gym, get yourself straight up here. And I think you'll be surprised at the benefit you can see once you decide that you're ready to move forward and actually get to these places to talk to these girls. If you need some suggestions, I'll follow up with you, and I'll throw out a few things. I recommend maybe even a coaching session or two between you and me that we can do privately, and that might help as well.
Johnny, but you're thinking like a physical trainer. I don't know that he has problems with the gym. That's not really.
Well, no. I'm talking about life coaching sessions, not personal training sessions.
My point is that stepping away from dating for a few weeks is the exact opposite advice that I would give him. I would tell him he needs to go get shot down 5 times, 10 times a day. And
well, see, that would be great. That would be great if he's trying to tell us that he can't find anybody to shoot him down. And that's where that's where I got to call BS, because like we said, he's not looking in he's not looking in the right places. He's not even searching in the right areas. So, I mean, right now, like you said, yeah, okay, he's not even putting himself into a position to be shot down because he's either not going to the right places or he's just not trying as hard once he's there.
Well,
or he's not making any attempts, I should say.
Yeah, he's placing judgment on himself and some of these women that he's seeing. Oh, they're married. They wouldn't be interested. Let me tell you something, sir. Those married women have single friends, and they would love for you to meet some of their single friends. In fact, if you met some of these women, you would be invited to 4th of July cookout parties, and their friends would be there. So I don't want to hear this married women. No, the married women are the ones that you should be talking to, not trying to pick up, but hey, and you can even, there's no shame in your game. Let them know, hey, if you got any, friends that are looking for a real man, some lovely ladies, I am single. I do like women who know how to prepare a plate, just talk to these women. But you're not even having conversations with them, or they would know you didn't have a ring on. They would ask if you're single. They would probably offer to hook you up with one of their friends themselves. So meet some married women, go to some 4th of July parties, get shot down. It's a great thing. It's summer. It's a beautiful thing. There are women everywhere. So don't say, oh, I'm not her type. Don't say, oh, she's looking for whatever. If you see a woman you're attracted to, go have a conversation with her. You got to be trained to go.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're not running into women that you can talk to, again, you listed 4 places that I would not recommend, and I haven't seen you list a single place that I would. So, that's something that I think we can probably talk about offline. But, I definitely think that you're going to want to cast your net in a different part of the ocean, buddy.
Great.
All right, so let's see. All right. Got Gary here.
And chat, let me tell you something. Go ahead and put in the comments what kind of what you would have told him to do for us.
I knew you were still thinking about Chad with 2 Ds. This is Mitch. Chad with 2 Ds, though. I hope you're watching. This is important for you to see, too. Chad with 2 Ds was one of the guys that wrote in last week, and we really appreciate that. We love everybody that writes in. But, just like you, Mitch, he had some ideas that he had some questions that he wanted us to give him some ideas on. And, that's all we try to do here. Let's see. This one's from Gary. Gary said, now Gary has been on a date recently, and it looks like it was probably Bumble, but I'm not quite sure. He says, my date told me that asking for consent was cringe. So yesterday, this is yesterday. This is fresh, Bill. Yesterday, I went on a date with this woman. We had a great date and had fun and everything. I made jokes. She touched my arm like Johnny Dumbbell says. Okay, cool. At the time of leaving, I told her that I liked her and asked her if I could kiss her goodbye. She told me that if I hadn't asked, it would have been yes, but now that I'm asking, it's no. She left and blocked me on Messenger. Since when was asking for consent a red flag? Gary. The thing of it is that we talk all the time, and if you've been watching our podcast long enough, you should know we talk all the time about body language. There's nothing wrong with leaning in, and if she turns her head or says no, great. But when you say, would you mind if I kissed you? The thing of it is that right there, even though you think you're taking the lead, you're asking her permission. Now, listen, I know in this day and age, we don't want to get too over the top. We don't want to get too forward and too physical too soon with somebody who may or may not be ready. But I don't think that leaning in for a kiss slowly enough for her to have the chance to decline is such a bad idea. And I'm going to have to go ahead and say that it probably wasn't just the fact that you asked. It was probably also the way that you asked. I like that you guys were laughing and joking. I love that she touched your arm. That was body language. That was something that showed she was listening, paying attention, and engaged in your sense of humor. Bonus points if she was laughing at crap that wasn't even funny, because then that just goes to show even more interest. But the thing of it is that now, instead of taking the lead and progressing things forward non-verbally, you have kind of become afraid to make the move and just simply go for it. Now, we're not saying rip her shirt off. We're saying lean in for a kiss.
All right. Well, okay, where to start with this? Asking permission. That's weird to me. And let me tell you why. Because when I'm out on a date with a woman, I can't keep them off of me. They're touching me. If I'm out in public, some of these women would climb onto my lap and start playing with my beard, regardless of who's around. So there's a certain kind of body language. They're leaning forward. They're leaning into you. They're being playful. When you recognize some of those signs, I'll do things to stir up that emotion. Like I'll like start talking in a low voice, like kind of by her ear, not it just real playful, and to where they're leaning in closer and they want you to kiss them so bad. Now, me, master level, what I've done for a while, I will grab that woman by her throat. I will wrap my hand around her throat and bring her to me to kiss her. But that is not what you guys should do. Now, of what you
gentlemen, this is next. You know how on GTA you got to be level like 400 to do some things? This is kind of one of those things.
What you should do is ask her if she wants to keep her eyes open or if she wants to close her eyes. So, she'll know what you mean. She'll close her eyes. She'll play along, and you can
well,
go
I think
then.
I think for Mitch, we're going to try to start at level 1 though, and level 1 for Mitch is going to be: we don't ask. At the end of the night, we go for the hug. We try to turn toward the face. We go for the kiss. We do not say, "Would you mind if I kissed you?" We don't do that. Look, I'm not mocking you, man. I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, But what I'm saying is, this is a situation where consent is something along the lines of actual,
John. And end of the night.
Stop the cap.
Let me tell you something. I'm getting kisses in the first 30 minutes, and I'm not ending the night with the kiss. I'm ending the night when I put my clothes on and I'm walking out of her bedroom. So you have to build sexual tension throughout the date. And when you go to take her home, there won't be no leaning in for the kiss. She will pull you into her house, my guy. Come on.
See, and here's the thing that really gets me is that, like I say, she was laughing and joking and touching his arm. But what he doesn't tell us, and I think there was probably something in there that we're not hearing, is somewhere between the laughing, joking, and her being comfortable and touching his arm and the whole asking for the kiss, something must have happened. There must have been some sort of, and really nothing cataclysmic. I mean, something like uneventful. There must have been some sort of drop off in the intensity of the conversation, or there must have been some kind of something, because her body language, if what he's telling us is true, her body language is saying she was all about him. So it very well could have been that him asking for the kiss right there was just him talking his way out of, something, when really all he would have had to do was, hands on the hips, pull her in, give her the kiss. Again, she could say no, and then that's fine. You don't. But I think that asking and just coming right out and asking permission, I mean, I'm not going to say it's cringe. I don't like to use that word. I think people throw that around a little bit too much. But I definitely think that asking permission has definitely not only shown that now you haven't taken the lead, you're asking her to lead. You're relinquishing that leadership. And thus you're giving up thus you're relinquishing her respect for you.
Angel says some women like dominance. Asking is lame. I'm going to take that a step further and say all women like a dominant, assertive man.
Mhm.
So, but asking is absolutely lame. Just tell her to close her eyes. If you're hugging her and you're playing around with her and it's been playful and she's having a good enough time, she's going to know why you want her to close her eyes. So, but you have to lead. You have to tell her. You can't ask. Just say, hey, close your eyes.
And then you say, man, what did I do with that spider I had in the box? No, don't do that. All right. So, yeah, I mean, don't ask permission. Like we said, this is not going to, that's never going to end well for you, man.
Now, Jen, this is an open forum tonight on Mondays, so we'll answer any questions you have. What do you got? Would you like to call in? We have a number if that's easier, or you can type it out in the comments.
Oh, God. Yeah, we're good with either way. But in the meantime, in between time, what do we got?
All right. Now, this is Angel's comment. I wanted to go back to it. That's dominant, confident, and can lead. Now, these are a lot of qualities that men are lacking. They're not dominant, they're not confident, and they cannot lead. So this is kind of why Johnny and I do this. Sure, we answer questions, but some of the more stuff that we do off camera with some of these young men, these are some of the traits that we try to instill in them.
Yeah.
So, because I really feel like if you can't be dominant, you can't be confident, and you can't lead, then you don't have any business being a man. You should probably just sit down to pee.
I mean, you won't miss. So what we got one, and I really wanted to make sure we got this one because this is kind of our main event question, I guess. This is what I was talking about in the headlines. So this one comes from, and I just lost it. There it is. This one comes from Will. His name is Will. Man, let's make sure he doesn't turn into a won't. Anyway,
his name is Will, but he won't.
So he says, yeah. But we're not just uncles, guys. We have dad jokes too. So his headline, why do I call it a headline? The subject of the email was, "Will I get over her?"
Hold on, Johnny. Before you start that, Jen's got a question ready.
Let's see it.
All right. Do you feel that men should be upfront when it comes to their size, and if there are any issues with it working? Okay.
Wow.
Jen. Here's the thing.
That's a realm we haven't gotten to yet.
No one else is really going to tell you this, but some guys are embarrassed of their size. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not all guys can be bigger guys. We've had this question before with guys who've had micro peens. And what we would tell them is that you need to get comfortable using toys. So if you're small, there's things that you can do about it. Or like she's saying, if it doesn't work, because some guys have health issues. Not everybody's subscribed to Johnny Dumbbell. Not everybody's in the gym focusing on their fitness. But Jen, I got to tell you, us men who are in our mid-40s who work out regularly, we don't have problems like that. Now, there could be health related, diabetic. It could be the side effects from medication being taken. But genuinely, when you're active and you're healthy and you maintain your diet and you exercise your body, you are still able to impregnate women well into your 40s. But I would say
now the question she's asking though is, should he be?
Right. That's what I was getting to, Johnny. The real question here is when you're up front, when you're honest and you're a man, you're honest about everything. You're not honest about some stuff on Tuesdays and then on Thursdays forget to disclose stuff. So it doesn't work like that.
Just because the government does it doesn't mean you can.
If he is not upfront about something, I would say there may be other things that he is not being upfront about. Now, I'm not saying that for a certainty, but I will tell you, as men, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So
Yeah.
if he's honest and upfront about everything, you kind of would have known about this. So now I'm thinking
But
that
it is kind of hard because a lot of guys aren't going to just say something that, like
okay, well,
imagine you're trying to imagine you're trying to kind of put your best qualities out there. And I think a lot of guys are going to be afraid to kind of put that out there and say, "Oh, hey, here's a reason not to be with me." Is what he's going to view it as in a lot of cases. So, yeah, like Bill said, there might be some embarrassment there on his part if that ends up being the case. Um, but I think that if things start to progress, eventually, I don't even know that he would have to. I think there's going to be signs.
no, here's the thing, Jen. I'm not trying to completely ruin our algorithm tonight because I gotta tell you,
But it's going to happen.
like YouTube does not like it when we bring out that that freaky side of William and I start giving y'all the game on how to move in the bedroom. But if your man is having some issues, if this is a man you're dealing with personally, have him reach out to me. I will give him the game on what he needs to do to keep you satisfied. Like y'all are gonna have to take a date to a 24-hour adult store together. I don't know if either of you if you've ever done that. That's something y'all are gonna have to do together. And you're going to have to be comfortable choosing stuff and picking stuff out. But I will talk more with him on that because it's his job to lead. And I'd rather give him the game on that. I mean, unless, you want to know how to take a woman to an adult store, I got you on that too,
Yeah.
boo.
Well, I
But
mean,
I would
even
say
talking to her, she might be able to get some hints you can drop for him or whatever.
I would say there are options. Okay, he could get good with his fingers. He could get good with his words. He could get good with his mouth. He can get comfortable with toys. It does not have to be a deal breaker.
And if he's packing a crayon, he better.
Oh, yeah. Angel says that's why I'm still single. Now, all right, Johnny, let's go ahead and read your question. Ladies, I just want to say thank you so much for commenting
Seriously,
tonight. Johnny,
guys, they are routing you.
I love it that we put together a show for men and the women are in here making all the comments, asking the questions.
Well, Bill, it doesn't hurt that you're sexy. I mean, that's probably a big part of it.
All right. She says, I have those toys, but he seems uncomfortable using them. Okay. Next
Now,
question.
do you think it's
okay? Well, you have to understand he's probably intimidated by some of this.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
If he's not packing, if this is something that's a lot bigger than him and he has certain insecurities, he may think that it may like stretch it out to where he's throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
Jesus.
So, like, I don't know what kind of toys you have. Like I said, you guys should go together and pick out some toys, or these toys that you had previous to him coming in or getting into a relationship with him. Because,
or better yet, if he's not comfortable going into an actual location, there's all kinds of online shops. I've heard.
Thank you, Angel.
No, but you can shop online in private. I mean, like I said, it's confidential. There's all kinds of ways that you can shop around, see these things. What may or may not work for the two of you. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to make jokes about this kind of thing, but in reality, look, this is a relationship. This is something that is involving two people that care about each other deeply. So no, it's not funny. So I mean, it's something you guys got to get together and discuss and decide what works for both of you. Yeah.
Okay, here's another question I have for you, Jen. Have you guys ever talked about having an open relationship?
Oh boy.
Now, if he is kind of insecure about his size and he is insecure about toys, my intuition tells me he is also going to be insecure about having an open relationship. But I have seen couples who have problems. Usually it's with older men and younger women, and they want their wife to be happy, so they will allow her to go have fun on the side. So, I mean, there are options, is what I'm saying, but
I mean, it's a slippery slope, but yeah.
he should. My main piece of advice would be that he needs to get comfortable with toys, and that there's other things he needs to learn how to do that I can teach him that are not on YouTube. So I will give him some game, but I really can't do it right now. So he's
Yeah.
gonna have to hit me up on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, definitely talk with Bill online. He obviously knows a little bit more about the stuff than I do, but it's one of
Well,
those things that I think we definitely give you some really good advice as far as suggestions, locations, things like that. Yeah.
location, location, location.
All right.
What else we got, Johnny? Let's knock our
Yeah.
last question
So
out. Right.
the headline email, like I said, this is from Will. He said, "My ex and I." He's
All right,
oh,
hold on
he's
one second. Jen wrote back again. She says they're not in a relationship, but just been dating. All right, Jen.
well, that's a vetting process
Unless there,
there.
look, I'm gonna give her some game on this. Unless there's some extra incentive to deal with him, you might want to just move on. So maybe you should think that you guys aren't compatible. Being compatible means that you're also sexually compatible. So maybe the two of you are not sexually compatible. However, if he does have redeeming qualities, if you are very attracted to him, or if there's something that he is providing your life that you cannot get without, and you want to make concessions, then I would say explore some toys, help him with his ego. Don't, if he's intimidated, you got to understand men have an ego. And when women learn how to stroke a man's ego, those are some of the most dangerous ones, because that becomes an addiction in and of itself to a man, having a woman stroke his ego. Me, I have taken a lot of steps to kill my ego. I want to greet everybody with humility. And I appreciated my ego. It got me to this point, but I just feel like I can't grow as a man with it. However, that being said, he may have some ego issues, and you may have to learn how to help him with that as well. And we appreciate you writing in tonight, Jen.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you so
absolutely.
much.
Thank you, Jen. We appreciate hearing from you. Big time.
All right, Johnny, let's get to our question now.
All right. So Will says, Will is 24. His ex is 21. So a young guy, 'cause my ex and I were together for 6+ years. So I'm guessing this is a high school relationship that kind of spilled over into the 20s. We all know about that one, don't we, Billy? She broke, or maybe it's just me. Anyway, she broke up with me about a year ago because she lost the spark. Meanwhile, she cheated on me. She cheated on me during the last few months we were together several times. She's had several bed partners since then.
Wait. Stop. Time
We got
out.
to come up with a word for that.
I hate to interrupt you. Could you
Then
read it
don't.
back
Okay,
again?
good.
He
What's
said
that?
she cheated several times.
Yeah, this is building towards a really interesting ending too.
Will, my
Won't.
God, nephew, why do you hate yourself? Why
Well,
would you
now,
allow a woman to do that to you again and
oh, Billy,
again and again?
Uncle Bill,
Seriously.
Uncle
All
Bill, I
right,
ain't gonna lie. This, if that upsets you, this next sentence is really gonna let you have it.
all right, come on, read the rest of the email and then I'll give it to him, dog.
So she's had several bed partners since then, and I've heard a new boyfriend. The last I have seen her is 4 months ago because she owed me a lot of money. But I still think about her. Well, hell yeah, she owed me a lot of money. I'd be thinking about her too. I haven't had relations with anyone and haven't even kissed anybody because I still love her. We won't work. I know that, but I can't get her out of my head. Every quiet moment I see her in my head, and that's why I work every day all the time so I don't think of her. My question is this: will it ever stop? Will I ever love somebody else? And how do I talk to a woman? Now, finally, those last three questions, they're good questions to ask. The rest of this, Bill, take it from the top.
Okay. It's not easy to move on. Okay. It happens to all of us. What you are feeling is a sense of abandonment, and you are resenting the fact that she didn't protect what you two had built over 7 years. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time working on yourself and working through that. I've had similar stuff happen to me, and I can tell you that being grateful and appreciative for the things that I have is what helped me heal from some of my past traumatic situations. So the fact that you don't want to be with another woman, you got some issues. Now, if TK was on here, shout out to the homie TK. If TK was on here, he would tell you the best way to get over a woman is to get under another. So,
well, he likes to be on the bottom. So
so TK would say to go out and find yourself another woman, that they're everywhere and they're not that hard to get. You have this attachment to this woman. You're not going to want to hear this either. There is a version of you that has craved this woman, and you need to detox yourself from that version. In fact,
I feel like she might have been his first.
Maybe because he was doing a lot of sucker shit, Johnny. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The letter,
and we all did for our first. We all did for our first.
Again, and still be hung up on her. Now, the money she owes you, charge it to the game. Okay, forget about it. Because if she respected you at all, she would have paid you. So the fact that she doesn't have any respect for you means she has no reason to pay you. Consider it a gift, blessings on your journey. So I don't think you should ever speak to her again. I think that
no contact is the way to go.
So much respect for yourself that you should never speak to a woman again who did that to you. Come on, nephew.
Well, it sounds like he's been it does sound like he's been no contact for the last 4 months. But here's my thing.
No, he knows
I'm going to answer.
Actually active with other people. He knows she's in another relationship. That means he's keeping creepy tabs on her. Let me tell you something, nephew. I forget about a woman the minute I pull out of her driveway. Forgot. Thanos snapped out of existence. What was her name again? Oh no!
And she was just waiting. And listen, she was just waiting for him to get a towel.
Man, I'm telling you. So you have a lot of issues that you need to fix with yourself. You should not be worried about that woman one bit. You're going to have to mourn the loss of that relationship. It's over. I mean, Johnny, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and answer your last 3 questions in order.
You go. I like
so
it.
He says, will this ever stop? Yes, when you want it to. Will I ever love somebody else? Yes, when you're ready to.
Self.
And how do I talk to women? Well, by working on yourself, learning game, liking yourself to the point where you like yourself so much that you talk to other women just to share this person you become that you like with them and the rest of the world.
All right, so this is how I look at it. Okay, I think of myself like $1 million. Like if I walk up to a woman and I'm like, there's a briefcase with like $1 million in it. I'm like, oh, hey, do you want this $1 million? If that woman is like, no, I am not worried about it one bit, because guess what? The next bitch will want that $1 million. She'll want to do the nastiest, dirtiest stuff with it too.
Yep, it's like offering your friend a shot of whiskey and he says no. Hey, that's one shot you get to have.
All right.
It's more for you.
So
that's more you. That's more you for you. Yep. What's up?
What was his last question again?
The last question is, and it's the loaded question, how do I talk to women?
How do I talk to women?
I think what he's trying to say is, how do I move on and try to talk to somebody new?
Well, you have to learn that there is an art to it. You're going to have to learn a certain confidence. You're going to have to get shot down. You're going to have to be uncomfortable doing it several times over and over. But eventually, something's going to click. Eventually, the women are not going to be as big and bad and scary. And you're not going to be afraid of their nails and their lashes. and
And all it's
not
going to
gonna
take is a
care
few
when
times of
it's
you hearing no and realizing it's not going to break your knees.
You know, Johnny, we say stuff at the same time sometimes.
I know, my bad.
That was great. We both got on of our hearing no. I love it. Shout out to us, man. All right. Any more questions tonight, Johnny?
No, and Jen Angel, if we're gonna give you like 2 minutes, if that, to hit us with one more thing, if you want.
No, I'm gonna make Angel a moderator. Oh wait, I can't. She's on your channel.
I'm gonna make Angel a moderator.
You can make her a moderator. All right, so we'll be back. What, Thursday night? Hey,
Yeah,
Johnny.
yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, I got a couple. I gotta get. You know what I should do before the show is get some new, because it's important, and I always tell this to gentlemen, and I talk about it. I don't, you know what I mean? So I need to do this myself. Updated photos. I haven't updated any of my photos since like maybe 2 tattoo appointments ago. So I should update some photos with some of my new ink and have that out before we start swiping. Because Johnny, I need a date.
I'm so far behind.
I need a lady or two to go out with on the weekend. So maybe Thursday night, I'll get to match with one or two. And if we're lucky, I'll open up communication. I'll share everything Thursday night if it happens while we're live.
Right, ladies, he's got 2 arms. You can have one of you on each.
Oh, that's right. All right. So thanks, Johnny. I appreciate you. And anybody who has ever watched us, shared our content, liked it, supported us in any way, I genuinely want to say that I appreciate you and thank you. And that we'll be back Thursday night. We out.